this is the juicy spot where we start to get into what's next. And this is still quite a big spot here, guys. So we still got a little bit to go through. They say our next major update, verse 3, name is still to be decided, will mark a significant step forward for PAX Day. With it, you'll experience a world that feels more rewarding and more strategic. We're making some changes to the combat system by adding several new spells and new characteristics to gear, which we talked about again when we went over the roadmap. With it, you'll experience a world that feels more rewarding and more strategic. We're making some changes to the combat system by adding... I already read that part. Hold on, let's see. I think I skipped a spot. Yeah, I jumped around here. My dyslexia got the best of me. We're adding new weapon types, a new weapon type, staves, which will be dedicated to healing spells. And again, we talked about that at the beginning, guys, where we talked about what that could potentially mean and how the gear is going to be changing and stuff. Additionally, all melee weapons will have 3 distinct abilities for further differentiate their playstyle, These additions aim to create more dynamic combat experience, deepening the interplay between roles and offer more tactical options. I've been reading so much stuff, guys. I think this is going to be great, honestly. I think how we talked about the combat before, having these new play styles, really letting people lean into a certain type of play is going to be really big for the game going forward. And I think deepening the interplay between these roles by having these healing staves and tanks having their own roles as well, I think that's going to be great for the game. I'm really looking forward to that. Let's see, what else do they say here? Whether you prefer the more brute force of melee, the steadfastness of a tank, or the supportive role of a healer, you'll find more ways to customize your build. Again, leaning into that holy trinity. Tank, healer, DPS, they're really leaning into that a little more, and I'm okay with that. I'm an advocate for that. I think it's a good system, and I think it works. Naturally, these combat updates will impact the crafting system, particularly tailoring, leatherworking, and blacksmithing. We're refining onboarding dependencies and progress pacing. We aim to simplify the early game with more intuitive crafting chains, meaningful low-tier items, easier access to spells, and reduced cross-platform dependencies in the first levels. Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, for potion making, you rely heavily on blacksmiths to make the glass vials for you. Without those glass vials, well, you're at a standstill, honestly. And especially as you go up, those vials become more expensive and more resource intense, and you need a higher skill. John says, I like stopping at Crafty Badger Dollar General, but it does ruin my immersion. Yeah. Athena says, I have not used the market browse yet, maybe later. Queen says, you actually saw me when I was there, but I don't think you knew it was me. Oh, maybe. Maybe. John says, on the other hand, being surrounded by 12 best Western hotels ruins my immersion also. I mean, but in the medieval setting, there would be a lot of inns and taverns and things like that. Let's see what else they go on to say here. We're also adjusting the balance and emphasis to emphasize gathering over extended crafting sessions. Another major component of verse 3 is a world revamp, and I think this is the big one, which we showed that map of what a home valley is going to look like after these changes. We aim to increase player density and interaction by adding more heartlands per province and slightly reducing the overall size of the wildlands. While resource locations will shift, biome gathering rules will remain consistent. So things will still be found in the same biomes that they have been found in, but they're all going to be moved around and shift around. Hopefully with that world revamp, they automatically just wipe all of our map nodes. Otherwise, you're going to have to take the time to go through and delete however many I have like over 100 map nodes added on. So hopefully they just remove all those. Otherwise, I'm going to have to go through and delete all of my resource map nodes. This is a big one here. Again, additionally, a fast travel miracle will be introduced, reshaping how players traverse the world and improving the global economy. Now, honestly, I think fast travel takes away something from a game. I understand the need for it. I mean, hell, it's in Skyrim, although I didn't really use it in Skyrim. I preferred to actually go my mount. At times, I would rely on it, for sure, at times. I can see how it can be useful. Again, it's one of those quality of life features that take it or leave it. You don't have to use it. But I'd like to see mounts. I'd like to see other ways for us to get around the world naturally and organically besides just, well, I'm going to teleport here and teleport there and teleport all over the place. Although it is a nice feature, though, because right now, as it is, it takes a long time to get places and it makes it hard to connect with other communities and things like that. Let's see, what else do they say here? The revamped world will also feature improved starting areas. Petra Day will offer limited storage for all players, including pre-placed entry-level public crafting stations, making the onboarding experience smoother and more accessible to newcomers. Looking further ahead, later this year, we'll be expanding PvP in meaningful ways. Again, hashtag soon TM. We don't know when, just later this year. PvP will play a key role in keeping PAX Day's economy vibrant and dynamic. Now, this is something that is going to be pretty divisive in communities. I am not opposed to there being exclusive resources in PvP. I'm not opposed to that. Early on, a lot of people, I think, got the impression that there were not going to be exclusively harvestable things that were going to be in PvP based on what people were saying and some of the things that they had said. And I'm okay with visions changing. I don't have a problem with that. Again, transparency is key, though, in all of that. I think a lot of people, I think some people are going to have a problem with this, and I don't know how it's going to change the view of the game from the player base going forward. Central to this evolution is reimagined Lioness, a larger, high stakes PvP zone with risk and reward, where risk and reward go hand in hand. Now, right now, risk rewards still go hand in hand in PvP. I think a lot of people avoid PvP, though, because of the harshness of the full loot PvP system. People either aren't engaging in PvP because they can get the resources elsewhere, or they're going in naked, and it just makes for a bland PvP experience. We've only had, we've probably had the most big PvP encounters, and there really haven't been that many of them, but it can end up feeling bland because people aren't bringing their magic gear. So the reward you get for killing them is really nothing at the end of the day anyways. And it makes for combat to be very bland because they're not using magic spells because they're not bringing those magic spells. They're just bringing their jack of plate and stuff like that. They're bringing mid-tier stuff. And I feel like if they could walk back the whole full loot PvP and maybe give us some other options or some other ways to, they did talk earlier on about you being able to scale your risk reward investment. I don't know. It's hard to say because we don't know what the future is going to bring. With the knights and the baronies and with the church system and all these other things that are going to be implemented into the game, it could drastically change my view on all of this. But as it stands right now, PvP is not the strongest suit of the game. It's more so abused by some bad faith actors where they'll have alts positioned at gates where they can spy on you and using meta information and things like that and spying on discords to find out when you're going to be going on patrols and places. And just a lot of things that really ruin my immersion and take me out of the roleplay experience that I think are ultimately bad, and which is another reason for private servers. But hopefully they can expand upon it in a meaningful way going forward. Let me know what you guys think about your PvP experiences. Let me know if you don't have any PvP experiences other than going out and Nike mining. But I feel like I'm coming from a very good podium here to be able to talk about my opinions on PvP, being a big clan who has engaged in a plethora of PvP all across the spectrum. Let's see, catch up on a little more chat here. UTB says, it's a GOL. I need to log off and get to a safe place for a real life thing. Fast travel. Oh yeah, it's a quality of life thing for the fast travel you're talking about. Yeah, a time saver. Absolutely. I could see that for sure. I mean, we kind of have that already with the teleport home to the Petra Day. So there is that. Let's see what else they say about PvP here. Players will battle for control of valuable, exclusive resources, but success won't come easily. Coordination, strategy, and bold action will be essential to claim key locations like what we currently call the trade towns. Now, I don't really know what this means. They have not really talked too much about this. I'm intrigued, though. We're also planning to introduce new customization options, including cloth dye system that gives crafters greater crafting freedom. Mainframe, please give us a maker's mark. People would love to leave their mark in the world in more ways than one, and I think that giving us a maker's mark where you could stamp your gear with either your clan logo or your clan name or made by insert crafter here, I think that is fantastic, honestly. And it's a small thing, but when you go to sell stuff, you could see who's reselling other crafters' things. You can track down who's the ultimate person who's actually bringing this stuff to market. I think that would go a long way. It's a small thing, but let us get our names on our stuff, man. A little maker's mark, a little emblem that we can etch into it or something like that. I think that'd go a long way. And alongside this, we expect quality of life improvements And if all goes well, mounts can finally make their way into the game. Now, this is the part that's controversial because they say that here, if all goes well, mounts can finally make their way into the game. But we had confirmation that mounts at one point, not that long ago, weren't even being worked on. So I'm not too sure. I want mounts. I want them as fast as possible. But who knows when we'll actually be getting that. UTB says quantity amounts versus limiting only to an area makes it fair. So those who don't PvP can still progress. I agree 100% with that. Yeah, like the steel is much more abundant in PvP, but you could still get it elsewhere. Or maybe it's not as rich or as pure. Maybe it has less yields. I'm okay with all of that stuff. A lot of people are going to have issues with there being exclusive resources that, let's face it, if let's say we're like dominating the PvP zone, we control the entire spice trade, so to speak, and there's nothing you can do about it other than, well, you got to buy the stuff from us. We can extort people. And I get it. That's like part of the whole social dynamic, but I know a lot of people are going to have issues with that. So it's going to be interesting to see. Let's end this poll currently that we have. And let's see how this voting went. Full wipe, yes or no? We have 96% of 29 votes of people saying yes, they would like a full wipe, and 3% say no. And that's where that line in the sand is going to come. I know some people aren't going to like it, and some people are going to like it. So it's interesting to see, though. Thank you to everyone who voted on that. Let's do another poll. A lot of polls this go around. I want to do one for PvP. Let's go exclusive things from PvP, yes or no? I want to hear your guys' opinion on that. Do you think that there should be some exclusive things that can be earned from PvP that, granted, you could trade for them? Or would you like to continue to have things be harvestable outside of the PvP zone, making them accessible more easily to everybody? I think that this is going to be a hot topic for a lot of people going forward. I think that ultimately we're going to have to wait and see what comes of it. But we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on this and chatting with everybody in the future on future episodes of PaxCast and over on our community Discord server to find out how you guys feel about this going forward as well. But Ange, what is your take on exclusive resources in PvP and the whole PvP scene in general?
Okay, so I love PvP, right? But my concern, and I love the idea of exclusive things in PvP because you're getting rewarded for the risk that you're taking. But my concern is when I think about the people who don't like PvP, they don't like interacting with it, they don't like dealing with it.
Right.
I worry about them and how they're going to handle the fact that they can't access whatever exclusive thing this is. And now I know everybody's going to say, well, the marketplace, you can go and get it on the marketplace. And I'm like, I get it. But that means that the people who go out there risk everything. Right now, we're pricing everything based on what we view as the value of that. So now exactly, I have to tell these PvE players, hey, well, I risked my neck. What did you risk? Nothing? Okay, well, hand over the money.
Right.
So I'm valuing this significantly higher than they might. And so now I just feel like that's going to leave the economy on an unbalanced, unplaying field. And so now people are being punished because they don't like PvP. It's just such a slippery slope there. PvE players who don't want to focus on PvP can go to dungeons or wherever to get gold to be able to afford it. But again, that's a significant amount of money. More, I'm assuming, because obviously we don't know. But it could end up being a significant amount of money. And so it's kind of hard for me to be, oh, I love it, because I sit here and I think about the players who it could affect, and I feel sympathy for them.
Right. I mean, and this could be another place where private servers really shine through, to be honest. I know I keep harping on that because I love private servers, but this is another place where private servers really could allow us to have a PvE server, PvP server, full PvP everywhere. I mean, it lets you customize the experience to what you want. And ultimately, like Ange is saying here, we want as many people as possible to be able to enjoy every single game the way that they want to enjoy it, right? And so for instance, in World of Warcraft, they have made clear separations between PvP and PvE. Now, Obviously, you're going to have exclusive rewards for choosing to engage in like high-level Mythic Plus dungeons or raiding or PvP, such as in the terms of mounts that you can only get if you're a gladiator and cosmetics and stuff that you can unlock, and that's your reward for engaging in that high level of PvP. But they're completely independent of each other through their gear score system. The gear that you earn for PvP is not really usable in PvE, and the PvE gear is not really usable in PvP. So they have a separation there. You can do both activities, but you're going to need like 2 sets of armor, and then you can choose at any given time what you want to engage in. I would hate to see a world where people, like Ange was saying, are feeling left out, or feeling like they're not going to progress as fast, or feeling like they just don't have the same pull in a world where they're not a PvPer. And they have made it abundantly clear that they do not intend on having, what do they call it? Like PvE, PvP servers. They do not intend on doing that at all. So it's going to remain how it's going to remain going forward. We can talk a lot more about this, guys. Make sure you get your votes in, because I'm really curious what the over 40 people are going to say about how they think PvP is going to end up. But it's definitely going to be a hot topic. It's going to be a very divisive topic, because some people are going to be adamantly like, no, I'm not going to PvP. And if I can't earn stuff, I'm not playing that game. Some people are going to say, yes, I love PvP and I want exclusives. Otherwise, I'm not going to play that game, because if I have no reward to show for my efforts, it's not worth it. There's going to be all kinds of stuff on both sides, but let's be respectful and, let's try and find some common ground so we can give our best opinions and some good insight to Mainframe to help shape the future of what PAX Day is going to be. And then they say, transitioning beyond early access, PAX Day is a live, evolving world. We will continue to deliver meaningful updates as we expand the game. To sustain this, we'll soon share more details on our monetization plans designed to support server costs while ensuring fair value for players. We sincerely appreciate your ongoing support, and we remain committed to delivering an experience that empowers you to shape your own adventures in PAX Day. Thank you for being a part of this incredible journey. We can't wait to see what stories you create next, the Mainframe team. There you have it. That is the road ahead, the March 2025 update. Absolutely tons and tons and tons of information in there. I do want to be brief because we're pushing the 3.5 hour mark of this stream now. I need to get some food. I got to check on that pot roast. I got to stretch my legs. This has been a pretty long stream reading. My eyes are kind of glazed over,